If it's Monday night, it is indeed the Wrestling Forum. Hello, friends. Ridiculously over Anthony Florio filling in tonight for Derek Ferreira as he has taken the night off for the Memorial Day holiday. And also because of the fact that it's also his birthday today, we'll have some special birthday shout-outs at the end of our show tonight. Two-man panel here tonight. The original two dudes with attitudes are here with you tonight. It's ridiculously over Anthony Florio and the cerebral viper Michael Fletcher. And I promise no Ranger talk tonight. We're going to save that for tomorrow night, so hopefully. So maybe it's a little wishful thinking there, but we are hopeful that we'll be joined a little bit later on. We're hopeful we'll be joined by, we were hoping for our third member of our team tonight, our phenom, Michael Bullock. Hopefully he'll be here shortly, but if not, then we'll just run it here. So, yes, delighted to be here as always, and delighted to have you with us as well. I mean, go-home show for Monday Night Raw tonight, the go-home to Payback edition, and it was live tonight from the University of Tennessee, the Thompson Boiling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee, on the campus of the University of Tennessee. So, with that said, let's just get right into it here. We started things off with a promo from the Authority, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, which was then, called out. They would then call out Brad Maddox, and then they would also bring out Kane as well. So I'm going to start it off here, and yeah, this was a good segment here. This was okay. I mean, it wasn't mind-blowing, but, it was your typical Authority promo, cookie cutter. I mean, it's the usual stuff, Stephanie putting over, her issues with Daniel Bryan and Triple H, putting over him and Evolution's feud with the Shield, and we're going to have a lot on that in just a little bit. And then Brad Maddox comes out, and Stephanie and Triple H basically, chastise him for allowing Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns to come out as the commentators for that match last week. And Brad Maddox paid for it as he ends up getting choke slammed and tombstoned by Kane. And then he gets fired of his general manager duties by Stephanie McMahon. So, solid segment. It was a fine segment for what it was. I mean, nothing really mind-blowing, like I said. It was just, Stephanie and Triple H, basically putting over, their respective feuds. And this is one thing that Derek Ferreira, I'm going to tell you something right now. I mean, Derek Ferreira, about a week or two ago, he did a blog on our official blog site, our official WordPress blog site, the rest of the forum WordPress blog site. He did a blog about, the top 5 ways to make Monday Night Raw a better show. Because let's face it, it's been losing steam as of late, ever since, WrestleMania season ended. And tonight's show, no exception. And I'm going to have, I forgot to mention, I'm going to have a couple of funny memes for you in a little while. But first of all, one of the things that Derek said about making the show better was, instead of having, elongated promo segment, have an actual match. Not just any match, have a competitive match. And hell, maybe make it a championship match. I mean, Derek said maybe have at least 1, maybe 2 championship matches on the show every week. I'd be fine with that. I mean, it would give the titles more meaning. And also, it would also, give us fans, something to look forward to, give us some unpredictability for a change. I mean, that's something we've been needing for a long time, because WWE has a very, and I do mean very bad reputation for being predictable. And it's one of the reasons why, we go off on them. I mean, we're coming off a TNA Impact show last Thursday night that was one of the single worst episodes of Impact Wrestling of all time that I've ever seen. And I think WWE might have followed suit with some of the things we've seen tonight. So, and I also have one more warning. Expect a ridiculously over rant or two tonight, because, this was like not a good show at all. But this was a fine start to it, so I got really nothing left to say. I'll save my rants for, just a little bit. And I'm going to have those funny meetings for you in just a little bit. So with that said, Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher, it's all yours.
Yes, what's up, everybody? It's Mike Fletcher. I'm here. I'm back. I want to follow suit with Anthony, and I want to follow the same thing that he was saying. How some segments was actually really good and better than others, and this was one of them that was actually pretty good. It was, it sold pretty well. I like what I saw from Monday Night Raw, the way that the show started, especially they went after Brad Maddox about the job that he was doing up to that point, and yes, he ended up indeed getting fired as the new general manager on Monday Night Raw. That means who's going to be the next GM? Guess we'll wait and find out sometime down the line. And at the end of the day, I mean, it was solid. Kane came out as an enforcer as usual, and I like what I saw. So there was really nothing bad to say about the segment. It was just good to start Monday Night Raw. We'll just have to wait and see how it goes from there. So with that said, make it short and sweet, Anthony. Let's get right into the action.
Yeah, let's indeed get into the action. First match of the night, it was a battle of number one contenders. It was the number one contender for the United States Heavyweight Championship, Cesaro, going one-on-one with the number one contender for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, Mr. Monday Night himself, Rob Van Dam. Winner of the match is Cesaro in 10 minutes and 5 seconds. Michael Fletcher, Cerebral Viper, you started off.
And a very solid match, a very good match to definitely jump off Monday Night Raw. And this is one of those fights that's a quality match. And this is what we want to see. You know, like you were talking about, Anthony, the way you were harping earlier in the evening, that what would make Raw better. Get quality fights, get championship fights, get matches that the fans will be interested in watching and seeing. And this was actually one of those fights. So, I mean, this was a very solid fight. 2.5 stars, maybe even more. I would say 2 3/4 of a star. Definitely one of the few highlights of the night. I know there was more lowlights than highlights tonight. I'll say that definitely. But this was one that really stood out, and I enjoyed it. So, Anthony, what did you feel about the match?
The match quality, honestly, tonight was really not that good. And it was so bad tonight that I got to call this the fight of the night, if I'm being quite honest with you. And that's exactly what it was. I mean, this was a very good match. I mean, some nice spots here, some good, solid action down the stretch. Yeah, there was a commercial break, but so what? I mean, it's typical. So, and 2.5 to 2 3/4, I could kind of agree with you on that. But thing is, I thought the match was, a little better than that. I'm going to give it 3. I'm going to give it a solid 3-star fight and call it the fight of the night because let's face it, I mean, how many other quality matches were there other than this one? Like 1, 2? Is that it? So yeah, I'm gonna give it a solid 3 for this one. So 3-star fight of the night. That's all there is to say about that. So with that said, let's move on to our next matchup. It was a Divas match, the first of 2 Divas matches. This has been becoming a theme over the last couple of weeks. It was the fiery redhead, Eva Marie, accompanied by Nikki Bella, going up against the gorgeous blonde, Summer Rae. Winner of the match is Eva Marie in 1 minute and 55 seconds. I got to lead off on this. All right, let me just say it like this. This is the battle of a Tony girl against a Mikey girl. Here's why. Mikey, if you don't know this, has a thing, and I mean a huge thing for fiery redheads. And he has had a thing for Eva Marie ever since she debuted. Whether it was, I don't know if it was on Total Divas or if it was, I don't know when she made her honest debut, but
It
Eva
was
Marie,
on Total Divas.
yeah,
It
it
was
was
on
Total
Total
Divas.
Divas.
I thought so. Okay. Ever since she appeared on that screen, well, he has had a thing. Well, the only thing is, she's a married woman, Fletch. You lost out on that. Lucky guy, by the way. And he's a cool guy. I've seen him on the show. He seems like a cool guy. So, but anyways,
Nah, she'd be better with me.
yeah, oh yeah, no doubt. And then on the other side of the coin, you got Summer Rae, beautiful blonde girl, tall girl. No, number one, I've always had a thing for tall girls, and number two, I've always had a thing for blondes, and that's why. So, and she's definitely the pure definition of a Tony girl. Hell, I could go as far as to call her a Ric Flair girl. I mean, this is the kind of girls that Ric Flair was hanging out with 30 years ago. Let's not kid ourselves. So, but here's the thing. They're nice to look at? Oh, hell yes. But this match was not. I'm sorry. This is a dud. The first of many duds on this night. But here's another thing. I mean, if Fletcher's heart was racing when he saw Eva Marie, think of what he saw when he saw his other favorite beauty, the beautiful Brit from Miami, Florida, Layla, showing up with her new boy toy, Fandango. And oh, yeah, long enough to distract Summer, and then your typical ho-hum diva fight ends in the typical ho-hum way. Will a roll. Vintage diva fight right there. So, as much as I love Summer Rae, and as much as Mikey loves Eva Marie, this is a dud. Absolute dud. So, And lucky for me, Summer's 30 and single, and so am I. So enough said on that. Fletch, it's yours.
It was a cluster. It was a cluster F. I mean, because of the fact that the way that it the way the fight started, it started out very slow. It dragged for a little bit. I mean, no doubt about it, they're not the best workers. Eva and Summer. They still got a lot to work and there's a lot to be desired, no doubt about it. But when Layla came out, it kind of was the distraction that led to the roll up for the 1, 2, 3, and now you see the victory for Eva Marie, and congratulations to her for the victory. But the way that this thing is going around, I don't know how on earth, because it's very Total Diva esque. Because if you remember, if you've been following Total Divas, and oh by the way, programming note, the season finale is this Sunday night on the E Network at 9 p.m. So all you fans out there of Total Divas, DVR it at that point or record it, whatever. You could see it then. But I will say this. It wasn't the best match, and no doubt about it. I'll even agree that I would even be as generous to only give it a half a star, and I'll be very generous with that rating because it can go from a dud to half star, no doubt about it. But there's too much plot in this thing. There's too many people in the kitchen, to say the very least, because you got the lovers' quarrel between the love triangle between Fandango, Summer Rae, and Layla. That's one thing. Then you got Eva Marie and Summer Rae and their clashes. What's been going on with them on Total Divas. There's too many plot points that it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I think what they need to do is, you got to settle. I think what they need to do is have one more match between Summer and Eva. Settle that once and for all. Then you go after Eva Marie with with Summer Rae and Layla over Fandango, and then you go from there. But right now, there's too many things going around. It's a complete cluster, and the fans are not gonna stand for that. It's gonna get to a point where people are gonna get sick and tired, and they're gonna tell these ladies to go away. I'm just saying. All right, let's move on, guys.
All right, and move on we shall, and that's a great point that you just made, Flex. No question about it. I mean, as as diehard old school wrestling, we'll friggin' watch old school videos of when Sherry Martel and Rocket Robin were having damn near 5-star classics from 25 years ago. That was the last time we saw, or hell, we could go back to the Attitude Era with Trish and Lita. Enough said on that. So, and that Diva division, let's face it, has been god awful ever since Trish and Lita left. But then again, you can say the same things about other talented workers like Mickie James and Beth Phoenix, just to name a couple. So with that said, let's move on. And of course, Total Diva finale Sunday night. Of course, the day of Bryan Brie Bella wedding. You'll see that how that all unfolded, and then of course some WrestleMania stuff. And I hope they show Daniel Bryan's winning moment. But anyways, let's move on to our next segment, and may God have mercy on our souls here because we have to move on to this one. El Torito against Drew McIntyre. Yes, I am not making that up. Winner of the match in 2 minutes and 25 seconds, El Torito. MF, Cerebral Viper, I'm sorry to do this to you, but the damn luck of the draw has finally caught up to you, so I don't envy you, man. You got to start it off.
Oh, my word. What is there to say about this one? All right. Bad match, horrible match, gimmick match, comedy match. This is what was wrong with Monday Night Raw tonight. It looked like, I don't know why, but it looked like they literally threw the show away. This looks like a throwaway for me. This is supposed to be your last pay-per-view, your last Monday Night Raw before Payback, before the pay-per-view on, the special event that's supposed to be on the WWE Network and is available for all cable providers, because I have not heard anything about DirecTV carrying it. I haven't heard anything about Dish Network carrying it on Sunday night. So for all you cable providers, if you got Verizon, if you got Cox, if you got Time Warner, you're getting the pay-per-view. You're gonna have to pay $45 for it. Or if you're like myself and Anthony Florio, we're gonna be watching this on the WWE Network on Sunday night. But my God, what was this fight all about? I mean, okay, I get it. It's stupid. It's campy. It's horrible. Dud, no doubt about it. But look what happened after the fight. Hornswoggle ripped the tail off El Torito and threw it back at him, which led, and Lord help us all on this one, Hornswoggle versus El Torito one-on-one in a pre-show fight on Sunday night, mask versus hair. Now, if anybody knows AAA in Mexico, this is notorious. And this is actually one of those signature fights that you see in AAA or in NCLL in Mexico. This is huge, Anthony. And I'm going to say it. They're going to make this into a campy comedy spoof. But I'll tell you what. We all ripped about the WLC, and we were like, oh God, this is gonna be horrible. And I'll even tell you, a lot of my friends, especially from the 2184 crew, the guys who were fans of wrestling, actually was like, you know what? This was actually a pretty good fight, and it was actually enjoyable and fun to watch. I actually got a chance, and you know what? I'm gonna say it. The WLC. I'll give it about. I actually rated it a 2.5-star fight. I actually gave it a 2.5-star fight because it actually delivered some good action in that fight. Now, will we get something better coming up? On the Payback pre-show, on the mask versus hair? Most likely not. But I mean, we were surprised with how good the WLC was. Maybe we were surprised again because it's in Chicago. The Chicago fans will probably try to push this to be something bigger than probably it's not. But, this is where Bizarro World could be taken over. IWC crowd, they love some of this crazy stuff. So who knows? We'll wait and see. But this one was a complete and utter dud. So, kid, it's yours.
Yes, indeed, absolute dud. And I mean, like I said, it's the first. I mean, it's the second of many duds on this night. And yes, I mean, at first I was gonna say, what was the point of this exactly? I mean, it's a go-home show. You're trying to sell a pay-per-view or special event in this case, and you put on this kind of monstrosity. I mean, as if a disastrous train wreck of a diva fight wasn't bad enough. You had to follow it up with a campy comedy bull funky match? No, no, no. I'm sorry. That's a no, no, no for me. And this coming from the president of the Rhode Island chapter of the Yes Movement. No, no, no. Indeed not. If Michael Bullock was here, he'd be right there with me, as you all know. But anyways, I mean, this was terrible. I mean, this was an absolute dud, and and this was and of course we actually do get a payoff, and it's going to be mask versus hair at the pay-per-view or pre-show on the WWE Network. I mean, that Chicago crowd, Fletch. I mean, we all know how rabid that crowd is. I mean, we saw WrestleMania 22 for God's sake. Do you all remember and we remember on that very night how rabid that crowd was, especially in the main event. That's all there is to say about that. But anyways, absolute dud and not really optimistic. I mean, I know the WLC kind of surprised some people. It even included me as surprising. I mean, it was corny and lame, of course, but the body work of the fight wasn't really all that bad, to be quite honest with you. I mean, it was almost like something we would see, the normal sized guys would do. So, and maybe 2.5 to 3 would probably be the correct rating for that particular bout. I mean, it definitely goes up there in my, surprise matches of the year, no question about it. Sleeper fights of the year, I should say. So, yeah, but this was terrible, absolute dud. I mean, there's really nothing left to say about it, and let's just move on, and move on we're going to. And, well, fun and games are over. We're now going to move on to something really special here, and that is an in-ring segment, a promo, Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family, the message to C Nation, and what else is there to say? I mean, this was far and away the segment of the night. And I'm going to rank it up there as one of the best segments of 2014. I'm going to go as far as to call this the second best segment of the year, only behind the Daniel Bryan Occupy Raw segment. I mean, I said nothing was going to rival that. Nothing was going to top it. This almost did it. Almost did it. Because this was absolutely phenomenal. We talk about each week how Bray Wyatt is the best promo guy in the WWE today. And I think tonight, if I'm being quite honest with you, that was his personal best work from a promo standpoint. Absolutely fantastic. And then you add in the involvement of Jerry the King Lawler. And then get this, JBL, who's been retired for 5 years, he ends up taking a bump. He ends up getting that vicious, almost meat hook-like clothesline of Luke Harper. And that took him down, and he ended up missing a good little bit of the show, even though he would eventually come back, which I'm glad he did, because I'm a big JBL guy, as everybody knows, especially Fletch. But, I mean, yes. I mean, and then it looked like they were going to go after Lawler, and then here comes John Cena, and then the Uso brothers show up, the tag champs. I mean, this was awesome. And then Cena cut the promo here. Matt Ward on the Facebook said that he said, "Damn, Cena cut a non-PG promo," and that's exactly what that was. I mean, goodness. I mean, great work by all around. This was the segment of the night, and I'll even go as far as to call this the second best segment of 2014 as far as Monday Night Raw is concerned. I still think the Occupy Raw segment was better. So, but this was very close to topping it. Very close. But all in all, fantastic work. And just imagine what that Chicago crowd is going to be like when those two hit the ring on Sunday night. Bray Wyatt's going to get all the cheers. Cena's going to get crucified. That's really nothing. That's not to be a surprise to anybody. So, and if Bray Wyatt does, the whole world in his hands, you're going to have 15 to 20,000 people singing right along with him. You don't need no damn children's choir. They're going to be your choir, brother. Enough said on that. Segment of the night, second best segment overall, 2014. Michael Fletcher, how are you going to follow that?
Oh man, I mean, it was definitely the segment of the night. I have to admit, I think there was one other segment that actually overshadowed it, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. I'm sorry, Anthony, I have to kind of disagree with you here. I gotta call this only the second best segment of the night. I mean, I love the way that this thing went. I love the talk and everything else. Bray Wyatt absolutely was amazing with everything that he had done in the whole situation. He had the crowd in his hands and the whole 9 yards, but he went after Jerry Lawler, and Jerry Lawler's from Memphis, Tennessee, and you are in the University of Tennessee. You are in volunteer country, and they did not like that one bit. So instant monster heat for Bray Wyatt and the whole 9 yards. Cena comes out to make the save. It looks like we got ourselves a little Donnybrook, and then the next thing you know, the Usos come out, and it's 3-on-3. So I honestly thought we were going to see another 6-man tag team fight here tonight, but I guess not. Cena cuts a very vicious promo, without a doubt. Definitely not PG rated, but I gotta say, sometimes it's good to see that evil side of John Cena, that more vicious side of John Cena. Not catered to the kiddies. I want to see more of that John Cena more than anything else. And I think a lot of people want to see a more heelish, darker, evil side of Cena, not this goody two shoes that I'm gonna be, presenting, all these great things about that I'm for the kiddies and this and that. That's what the IWC wants to see. They want to see the darker Cena, the evil Cena. They want to see a more vicious John Cena. They don't want to see Golden Boy Cena. They want to see the Cena when he first came out, the one that said, "I'm here for ruthless aggression," the Cena that used to battle rap back in the day, who actually spit it in the face of authority. He was actually one of those guys that actually didn't give a what. And I think that's what the fans want to see, and they've been begging for Cena to turn heel. And a lot of people thought that with Bray Wyatt, with the way that the Wyatt family's been, with the cult following that he had, A lot of people were thinking that maybe this could have been the time where Cena finally snaps, just absolutely blows a gasket, and we go from there. But we'll wait and see what happens. Unfortunately, up to this point, it hasn't happened. So we'll wait and see what happens. So, but it was definitely a solid segment. I enjoyed it very much, and that's it. So, Anthony, it's yours.
And now we have to move on to yet another dud segment here. Well, this is a dud match, actually. It was the leader of the Ryder Revolution, Ryder, one of Michael Fletcher's all-time favorites, although I think he's, starting to slowly but surely jump off that ship. And now he has to do the unenviable task of having to be the guy who has to, on radio, job to Alexander Rousseff. And that's exactly what happens here. Rousseff versus Ryder is our next match. Winner of the match, I wonder. Oh, yeah, it was Rousseff in 37 seconds. So, Michael Fletcher, I mean, what is going on with your boy?
You know what? Because of the fact that he just can't get a break. At the time, about a couple of years ago, he had one of the monster runs because of the fact that the fans wanted him to have a monster run. But he has slowly faded back into that mid card in purgatory, and now he's being jobbed out. He's being a jobber now, and who knows what's going to happen there. But one interesting thing came out of that, Anthony. Look who came to save Ryder. Big E. Langston came out and jumped Rusev. Now this could be interesting. We're talking two semi 18. You're talking about two big semi 18 wheeler trucks about to go into a collision course. In the immortal words of probably one of the greatest commentators in our time, Gorilla Monsoon, it's going to be like the irresistible force meeting the immovable object, and I hope that ring is reinforced if these two big boys get it on, because this is going to be an epic fight, and I'll even call it, this could be a Michael Fletcher be a man fight, and if that happens, man, I want a front row seat to that one. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, this is another dud, and I'll go as far as to call it the worst fight of the night because, it was over in 37 seconds. It was an absolute squash. I mean, oh, how the mighty have fallen in the cases of Ryder. I mean, here's a guy who 2.5 years ago beat Dolph Ziggler for the United States Heavyweight Championship, the biggest win of his WWE career by far. And then all of a sudden he goes into and then has a relationship angle with Eve Torres, and then yeah, look what happened. Look what's happened to him since. I mean, he's a dud enhancement talent. That's all there is to it. So, and this was Rusev against Biggie, no question about it. I think they can add that to the pay-per-view. I really do. And if you put that in there in Chicago, I think they'll get into it. I think they will. And yes, I mean Rusev and Biggie. I mean that definitely does have the potential for Michael Fletcher to be a man fight. And hell, that's not the only Michael Fletcher be a man fight on that card. There's a couple others, and you know where I'm going with that. But before we get into that, as is customary with any Rusev fight, you know how we have to rank it. Match was a dud, but what can we say about the ravishing Russian Lana? It doesn't matter if she's wearing blue or red or pinstripes or whatever. 5-star beauty. Enough said. Match dud. Let's move on, and that's what we're going to do. It was, now it gets a little better here. You got the Rhodes brothers, Cody Rhodes and Goldust, going up against Evolution's Animal, Batista, and the Viper Randy Orton. Now, here's the thing. This was actually contested as a no-holds-barred elimination match. They take out Batista and Randy Orton. Needless to say, they swept it. They won it 2 in a row. Took about an even 10 minutes. So, yeah. I'm gonna say probably second best fight here. I mean, this was probably a good 2.5 stars for the effort. I mean, early on, I mean, when they got Cody out of there, I mean, that was fine for what it was. But then, the Goldust thing, I hate to say it, that was kind of an Evolution Barry job, if I'm being quite honest with you. But yeah, it was a nice, solid showcase win for Orton and Batista. Giving us a little sample of what could happen on Sunday at Payback when Evolution and the Shield go at it in that 6-man, no holds barred elimination match in which you heard it here first. That's going to be the fight of the night. No, and no question about it. If all goes well, a possible match of the year contender without question. So, really nothing left for me to say here except 2.5 stars for the effort. And no big surprise when Batista went over. You knew they were. I mean, Rhodes brothers, I mean, they've been on the decline. So, and it's a damn shame, too. I mean, here's a couple of guys who end up having one of the best matches of 2013 against the Shield at Battleground. The only saving grace of that pay-per-view, by the way. And then they win the tag titles about a week or so later, and what have they done for us lately? Nothing. For the last 4 months. Ever since they lost the tag team titles to the New Age Outlaws at the Royal Rumble, what have they done? Nothing. Fletcher to us.
Yeah, I agree. 2.5 stars was definitely the rating for the fight, but it was definitely to put over the Evolution. It was to put over Randy Orton. It was to put over Batista. You know, make them look really strong going into Sunday night in Chicago, and they made them look really damn good with that victory tonight. There's no doubt about it. I don't know what else there is to say. It's just it was your typical Barry job, but it was a pretty solid tag team fight, no doubt about it. So, like you said, 2.5 stars. So let's move on.
And move on we will, and the next match we're going to talk about, well, it was the Monday Night Raw debut of Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas, one-on-one with Sin Cara. Winner of the match, Bo Dallas in 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Michael Fletcher, Cerebral Viper, you know more about this guy than I do. You've seen the NXT. You've seen him work. Your thoughts on his Raw debut?
You know what? I have to say that it was good, not great. You know, I do see Bo Dallas a lot. He is very good on the mic, and he's decent, you know, in the ring. Nothing amazing to that would make him jump out of your seat or anything like that. They did give him a good opponent in Sin Cara. Sin Cara is a good worker enough that he could probably carry him into a decent fight. So for me, this was okay, nothing spectacular. You know, like you said, it was short, sweet. It made Bo Dallas look really good for his first fight, for his first night officially on Monday Night Raw. Of course, he had his first official match Friday night on SmackDown, and it was decent enough as well. So I'm gonna give this about 1.5 to 2 stars is the rating for me. You know, like I said, it's something that I've expected or I have seen, especially on NXT, because he was a former NXT World Champion. He did win the belt, and he actually beat Biggie Langston for the title and held it for a very long time before Adrian Neville captured the title on the first live NXT event that was on the WWE Network. And actually, programming note for all you NXT fans, NXT TakeOver, which is supposed to be their second big live WWE network event, is actually going down this Thursday night live on the WWE Network at, I believe they said 8 p.m. So make a note of that, guys. 8 p.m. this Thursday night, WWE Network Takeover, and the big main event that they got for that night is Adrian Neville putting the NXT World Title on the line against Tyson Kidd. So with that said, like I said, 1.5 to 2 stars. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, 1.5 to 2 stars for the fight indeed, although I'm leaning more towards 1.5 because it was a 3-minute bout. But, you know, you're right. I mean, there was some solid action here. I mean, Bo Dallas, former NXT heavyweight champion, absolutely. And, of course, one other match about that NXT pay-per-view that I got to bring up, and definitely one of a personal interest to me. I mean, how about that match with Natalya against Charlotte for the NXT, for the vacant NXT Women's Championship? And what's going to make that? I mean, you think that's going to be great enough? I mean, the two of them going at it is good enough. But throw in the fact that Natalya in her corner is going to be my all-time favorite technical wrestler, Bret the Hitman Hart, her uncle, going up against Charlotte, and in her corner, the man who you guys dub me as when it comes to our version of the Horseman, Nature Boy Ric Flair, will be in Charlotte's corner. So Ric Flair and Bret Hart are going to be out there for that fight. Oh my goodness, is it that fight going to get any better? and I know a lot of people are still raving about the last NXT pay-per-view. I mean, oh boy. I mean, which featured a 5-star classic with Sami Zayn and Cesaro. And yeah, so
And
and
not
one of
on,
the
and not only that, but remember, Paige and Emma
oh
had
yes.
had a damn near 5-star classic on the women's side.
Oh boy, what we would give to have that on the main show. But I do have a funny meme I wanna bring up because I know a lot of people don't really like the Bo Dallas gimmicks. So this is for all you Bo Dallas haters out there. Hey Bo Dallas, I'm afraid I got some bad news. No one likes you or your stupid ass gimmick. Thank you very much. Yeah. So that's exactly what there is to it. I mean, the gimmick is kind of, lame, if I'm being quite honest with you. But, it gives him good heel heat. So that's all there is to say about that. So yeah, so nothing left to say. 1.5 stars. I'll agree with you on that. So with that said, let's move on to our next moment here, and just bear with me for one moment. Okay, this was another one of the big moments of the night here. It was Stephanie McMahon and Daniel Bryan. Stephanie McMahon, of course, demanding that Daniel Bryan surrender the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And Daniel Bryan told her off. He said, no, 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 no. This was to be expected, but he did say that the injury was worse than initially some people thought. Uh, I, I that kind of that makes me a little worried that he's going to end up surrendering this thing after all, and it's going to lead into a segment at Payback. It's going to lead into an in-ring segment. Now, normally we don't usually, we're not usually all excited when they do in-ring promos on pay-per-views. I mean, that's what Raw and SmackDown are for. That's what main event is for. Superstars, what have you. But to do it on a pay-per-view is a little bit out there, if I'm being honest. But this is one time where I'm actually going to let it go because this is, a major thing here. I mean, this is the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, crying out loud. Two belts that, if I was a wrestler, I would want to hold. Michael Fletcher would want to hold. Derek Ferrera would want to hold. Michael Bullock would want to hold. I mean, we all want to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, just imagine any of us carrying around those gorgeous belts. I'm all for it. There's no doubt about it. But anyways, Stephanie McMahon has now demanded that Daniel Bryan is going to give her one more chance, and you either surrender the WWE World Heavyweight Championship this Sunday at Payback, or else I'm going to terminate the wife. Your wife's going to be out of a job. Ooh, good Lord. Are you kidding me? I mean, do you want to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion? Or do you want to save, or do you want to keep your wife employed? Ouch. That I don't envy Daniel Bryan. I don't. Because if that was me, I don't know what I would do. Ask anybody who knows me. I always do the right thing. That's what I do. I put other people's interests ahead of my own. But I don't know in this case. I mean, but if I had an injury severe enough where I can't work, it's a no contest. I put my girl over. That's what I would do. I would surrender the titles, focus on getting better, and then knowing that I would have an immediate championship opportunity waiting for me when I come back. And that's what Stephanie said. You'll have an immediate championship match waiting for you when you come back. This was a very good segment here. It's another great segment here. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The in-ring segments tonight were far and away better than some of the matches were. And this was another great segment. I would say second best segment of the night, maybe third. I don't know. Because, the Wyatt segment, that was far and away awesome. But this was very good as well. I mean, Stephanie as the heel authority figure, well done as always. You know the story with that by now. That was the $1 billion princess who came out tonight. And Daniel Bryan as, the anti-authority guy, say, no, 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 I'm not surrendering my titles. But now he may have a reason to. I mean, what does he do? Does he attempt to hang on to the titles that he's worked so hard for, that he finally won at WrestleMania after years of hard work and sacrifice? or does he drop him in the blink of an eye just to keep his wife employed? I mean, if I had a wife like that, I don't know what I would do. That's a tough one. But like I said, if I had an injury and it was severe enough where I couldn't work, no brainer. My girl goes over, no doubt. But if my injury is not that bad and I can be back within a certain amount of time, a shorter period of time, something to think about. I don't know what Fletch would do if he was in that situation. I'm sure he'll tell us what he would do. I personally would like to know what he would do in that situation. But that said, very good segment here. And I'll probably say second, at least second, maybe third, because it was not the segment of the night. No way. Segment of the night far and away with Bray Wyatt and John Cena and all that may have enough said. But it's definitely another one of the top segments of the night. So I don't know what else there is to say except I don't like talking segments during pay-per-views, but this is one time I'm actually going to let it slide because this is a biggie. Because this is the title. The title. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Fletch, what would you do in this situation?
Oh man, I have to admit, I mean, I would be in a tough situation myself, but I mean, to know that if this was if I had to make a choice between the WWE World Heavyweight Title and I know that I suffered a neck injury and the whole 9 yards, or to know that my girlfriend slash wife's job is hanging in the balance. I mean, A, is an unfair situation because, I mean, what, Stephanie McMahon has backed Daniel Bryan into the proverbial corner, and he said, I'd rather do whatever I want. He's like, I don't want to give in to the authority because if I surrender this belt, I'm doing a bad situation. Because I would be basically surrendering the yes movement and the whole 9 yards. But the thing is, Daniel, is that you're not at 100%. You're not going to be back. As of now, they're saying you might not be back until at least SummerSlam, maybe even worse. We were hoping that there was some talk that maybe he'll be back in time for Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. So I mean, it's a tough spot. This spot absolutely sucks right now, and to know that his wife's job, Brie Bella's career, is hanging in the balance here. I don't envy Daniel Bryan. And Anthony, you said, if I was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and if I had a girlfriend who was employed to WWE, and I had to make the choice, I would surrender the titles. I would give up the WWE World Heavyweight title because I'd rather be fully healed and fully ready in 1,000 capacity because, yes, it was the ultimate dream. Yes, it meant so much to win the WWE World Heavyweight title. And after everything Daniel Bryan went through to get this belt, to win the title, to have to give it up. And it wasn't because he lost it. It wasn't because of that, the authorities screwed him or anything like that. It's injury. It's real life. It's human nature. They always say, injuries can occur at any time. And unfortunately for Daniel, it happened. It sucks. But for him to know that his wife's job is now put on the line on this, that's unfair to him. Great segment, solid segment, no doubt about it. I don't know. I don't know what there is to say, but if I had the choice, I'm sorry, the WWE titles would be surrendered. I value my girlfriend's life or whatever more. I would value her than I value myself. I've always been known to be a selfless guy, and that's why I got, like Anthony said, I'm always, he's a stand-up guy because he was surrendered the belts. I would do the exact same thing. I would follow suit. I would surrender the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens Sunday night in Chicago for Payback. This is going to definitely be one of those moments. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, but real interesting to see. Kid, it's yours.
Yeah, and it's definitely gonna be very interesting because I mean, even reading some of the reviews, I mean, they said that this segment actually just actually added something even better. This actually just made the pay per view a little bit better. I mean, with this segment, so I definitely agree with that. And I do apologize if you heard some background noise there. I mean, I don't know how that came about, but it did. So I've got it contained. So with that said, hopefully that won't happen again. So for the duration of this anyway. But anyways, let's just move on to our next segment, which was our second Divas fight of the night. It was the number one contender for the Divas Championship, Alicia Fox, going one-on-one with the beautiful blonde from Melbourne, Australia, Emma. Winner of the match is Emma in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Michael Fletcher, what do you make of the number one contender to losing her tune-up match before she goes up against Paige for the title at Payback? What?
Yeah, I know. I was actually a little floored myself, but this was actually better than the other Diva fight. I'll give it 1 star. I thought this was good, but boy, oh boy, oh boy. I mean, yes, she did lose the fight. Yes, Alicia Fox definitely lost the fight, but I think she won the night, boys, because she went bat bleep crazy. Because I don't want to say the word because we're on YouTube, but boy, did she go cray cray, and it was beautiful to see. Um, she started ringing the bell. She started, she grabbed some soda, poured it all over herself. She started going nuts, and and then she, started beating up on a poor stagehand. Gave somebody a wedgie down at ringside. I don't know what the heck that was all about. So I mean, she almost took out one of the camera dudes. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I mean, like I said, 1 star fight, but boy, that segment was all about Alicia Fox. She was definitely the MVP in that segment, no doubt about it. So Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, half to 1 star for me. I do agree. It was the better of the two Diva fights far and away. But I am a little surprised that A Fox went under here. I mean, she is the number one contender for the Divas Championship, and she's going to be challenging Paige for the title this Sunday at Payback, which might have potential. I don't really know, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Um, I'm actually 50-50 on that. And when we, on Saturday when we do some form of a payback prediction thing, I mean, I don't know how that's going to work out, but we'll figure something out, I'm sure. But for right now, I mean, after one, and yes, I mean, I'll be honest, A Fox's post match antics were definitely far and away better than the match was. I mean, good lord, I mean, this may have been her best post match antic yet. I mean, the fans were into it, and I was into it. I know Flex enjoyed it as well. And if you notice, when one was a Sunkist Star and Soda and the other was a Diet Coke, did you notice that? I noticed that. So how very observant and astute that I am, huh? Noticing that? I mean, he was guzzling those things like friggin' Stone Cold Steve Austin used to guzzle beers back in the Attitude Era. That's what she was doing. And God forbid if they actually strap her on Sunday night and they put her over for the Divas Championship, her first title reign in 4 years. I mean, oh boy, what do you think she's going to do then? And that's one of the reasons why I want to say she actually wins the title on Sunday. But another part of me says that they're going to keep the title on Paige. So I don't know. At least I have a few more days to think about it. Saturday, some form of payback preview. I don't know how we're going to do that, but because Michael Bullock's going to be away for those Summer Olympic Games, the Special Olympic Games. I don't know what Derek Ferrera's up to. I don't know what Fletcher's up to, but I know we'll probably figure something out in due time. And when we do have something, we'll figure it out. Um, so yeah, yeah, I don't know what's going on with these videos tonight, but they keep popping up. So with that said, let's let's move on to our next segment here, and that was, let me see. Oh boy, here we go. We got Adam Rose, and we got the Exotic Express Adam Rose going one-on-one with Damien Sandow, dressed up as Davy Crockett. Oh, 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 gosh. I mean, if you don't know where I was going with that, I just channeled my inner Sean Hunter from a Boy Meets World episode where he was going, and tried to, and just literally walked out of the room. I mean, that's exactly what I want to do right now after seeing that. I mean, this was an absolute dud. I mean, this was absolutely horrible. And that's going to lead in. I just got ammunition for another funny meme that I'm going to have for you in just a moment. But, let's face it. I know Michael Fletcher loves the Adam Rose gimmick, and I know Derek Ferrera loves it too for some odd reason. I don't know why. And I know Bullock's probably, kumsi kumsa on it, but for me, until I see something, better, until I see something better, he wrestled tonight, but he didn't really do much when it comes to the fighting. So, so this was an absolute dud. Now bear with me here. I'm just gonna, or actually, I could just throw it to Fletch while I work on this funny meme. Good Lord, man, this was terrible. And what's going on with Damien Sandow lately? God forbid, 7 months ago, this guy pushes John Cena to the limits and nearly becomes the World Heavyweight Champion after cashing in Money in the Bank the night after Hell in a Cell in Orlando, Florida. But 7 months later, he is, I hate to say it, but he is now far and away #1 dud enhancement talent. Look what happened on friggin' Main Event last week, for crying out loud. Look, if you didn't see Main Event, but by the way, you didn't miss a thing, because it was the single worst main event of all time. And if I rated that main event, I would have rated it a 0 out of 10, because that's how god awful that show was. That show was terrible, or as Charles Barkley would like to say, terrible, and that's exactly what it was. Damien Sandow was dressed up as Sherlock Holmes. Look what this guy's freaking doing. First it was Magneto from the X-Men a few weeks ago. Then he dresses up as Sherlock Holmes, and now he's dressing up as Davy Crockett. What's next? You're going to have him dress up as the friggin' Easter Bunny? Oh, wait, Easter was already passed. That's right. And don't forget, he's also dressed up as Santa Claus, but that was back during Christmas time. That was fine. I understand that. But what are you gonna have him do next? I don't know where SmackDown's supposed to be. And let me tell you something. If this monstrosity went on at Payback, they would boo him out of that building. You think John Cena and Dave Batista are going to get crucified? No. Because if the crowd in Chicago sat through that monstrosity, they would have all gotten up and they would have said, give us our goddamn money back, because this shit is terrible. Terrible. You're better than this. Damien Sandow, where have you gone? You are, I'm sorry to say, you are now the #1 dud enhancement talent. Hell, I'd rather have friggin' 3MB and Los Matadores have a best-of-7 match series than sit through that monstrosity again. Give me a frickin' break. You kidding me? God damn, that shit was terrible. Give me a damn break. Good Lord. I don't know what else there is to say except don't be a rosebud. Be a lemon. I'm a lemon, and I'm damn proud of it. Fletch, it's yours.
And there's the buzzkill of the night. Are you kidding me? Oh, no. Okay, here's the thing. I'll agree with you with the match. The match was bad, no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. I'm not gonna defend that. But I'm sorry, man. I like the gimmick. I like Adam Rose's gimmick. I've seen him on NXT. He was there. He was a lot better, on NXT. But the one thing that was always the negative about him was his wrestling ability. And the thing was, he wasn't as polished or great in the ring. and there was no doubt about it. He's got great charisma. He's a very good talker. He was very, he had this party atmosphere, which was awesome. But his in-ring ability needed a lot of work. And one thing that they said he needed was a better finishing maneuver. It looks like they gave him a good finishing maneuver now, so that's out of the way. But he still needs to work. He still needs an opportunity. Hopefully they'll give him a chance. But I'll say it like this. The fans are starting to gravitate towards him. He's getting a cult following, and it's starting to work. He's getting that Santino push when Santino started. And a lot of people like Santino at the beginning because, it was comedy, it was funny, it was a ha-ha goof and whatnot. He was super over in London last week and England, man, because they were going nuts. And I'll even tell you this, Anthony Florio, I will bet you anything he's gonna be super over with the crowd in Chicago. And I gotta tell you, man, um, don't be a rosebud, Michael. Be a lemon like me. Yeah, I got 2 words for you on that. Forget it. Not a chance. I'm definitely a rosebud. You're gonna have to deal with me, and you're gonna have to deal with Derek Ferrera. I don't know how Michael Bullock, but don't worry, man. Once we get some of those beautiful rosebuds, ladies, we'll have Michael Bullock swing our way, swing into the good side. And Anthony, you could be a lemon by yourself. It doesn't matter. Anyway, but there's no doubt about it. I'm not gonna save this fight. This wasn't a good fight at all. And like you said, what Damien Sandow, where have you gone? Where are you now? I mean, there's no doubt about that too. I mean, like you said, he was Mr. Money in the Bank, cashed it in, tried to beat John Cena. He loses, and it looks like he's just sputtering. I don't know why they're doing this to him. I don't know if he upset WWE management or anything like that, but I mean, I'm sorry, man. It is what it is. So, Anthony, let's just move on.
Yeah, I mean, how are we gonna follow that? I mean, there's really nothing left for me to say except I'm a lemon and I'm damn proud to be one. So, and I'm gonna be one until otherwise noted. So, I'm sure he's a good wrestler, but it's just that the gimmick is way too over the top for me. It's campy comedy. You know how I am about that. It's basically 3MB 2.0. That's really all there is to it. So, yeah, that's just how I feel. So, I do have another funny meme. I'm gonna have that for you in just a little bit. So, with that said, and like I said, I also do apologize for for the continuous background noise. I still don't know how those things just come up automatically. I just don't know how, but they have. So with that said, let's move on. Oh, by the way, when Emma beat Alicia Fox, that was in 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and the Adam Rose Damien Sandow, that was 1 minute and 40 seconds. So with that said, let's move on to our next match, and at least we got another quality match out of this show. It was a non-title match. It was United States Heavyweight Champion Sheamus one-on-one with Alberto Del Rio. Winner of the match, Sheamus, in 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Michael Fletcher, you lead it off, and while you do that, I'll have that other funny meme ready. So with that said, Fletcher, go for it.
I gotta say, this was a damn good fight, and this was actually one of the top fights of the night for me, man. I mean, this was a solid match. Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio actually really tore the house down. This was a very good match. There's really nothing to say. I say this was a solid 3-star fight, and I really enjoyed this match. It was a great back and forth. Yeah, there was a commercial break in between the fight, but it didn't take away from the match. It actually kept the match going. It was still solid enough that I was very impressed with the body of work with everybody involved. So for me, bravo for these guys. This was a solid match, 3-star fight for me. And Anthony, I tossed it to you. So what did you feel about it?
What did you say for the rating? You said 2.5, was it? Or 3? Yeah. I'm gonna say actually I'm gonna make a little change on my scorecard. I'm gonna say that the Orton Batista Cody Rhodes Goldust was the third best fight. I'm gonna say this was the second best fight of the night, and I'm gonna give this between 2.5 to 2 3/4. It didn't really quite feel like a 3. I thought the other match was a little bit better with RVD and Cesaro, but this was definitely a quality match, a solid match. I mean, some good in-ring action here. No big surprise, Sheamus won it. I mean, they obviously want to give him some momentum going into the Cesaro fight. And since Michael Bullock's not here, I can mention this. Paul Heyman came out and cut a promo afterwards saying that my client, Brock Lesnar, conquered The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. Well, look what's here right now. He'd be losing his mind. Let's not kid ourselves. And that's exactly what he would have done. But, and then it set up an attack, a sneak attack by Cesaro, softening up Sheamus. And as Booking 101 would suggest, don't be surprised if Sheamus ends up going over at the pay-per-view on Sunday night. So, yes, I do agree with you on that. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star for me. And I'll have that funny meme in just a moment. So, with that said, let's move on to the final segment of the night. It was a contract signing. It was Evolution and The Shield going at it here. I started off here. Oh, my goodness gracious. This was crazy. I mean, I could probably say this was the second best segment of the night. I mean, if the Bray Wyatt thing wasn't so freaking awesome, I would have said this was the segment of the night. But no, I mean, because this wasn't your typical. I mean, since when do contract signings go as planned? Go off without a hitch, if you will. Contract signings are a lot like WWE weddings. They hardly go off without a hitch. I mean, or I should say, they hardly go off without a hitch. But did you really think this one was going to go off without any, chicanery? No way. You knew there was going to be a fight. You knew there was going to be a brawl, and that's exactly what happened. It ended up getting a brawl, and look what happened. Evolution gets the last laugh. As Randy Orton, Triple H, and Batista were the last men standing, they took out the Shield in a big way. I mean, this was a well-done segment, and, after so much horrific activity on this show tonight, I mean, they needed something hot to close the show, and this definitely did it. So, a very good way to end what was a rather average and mediocre edition of Monday Night Raw. And honestly, I could call it one of the worst Raws of the year. So, if not the worst Raw of the year. So, there's really nothing left for me to say here except, Fletch, you're the Evolution, Mark. What did you think of that?
This was awesome, man. I mean, it started out with the Shield, cutting a promo, saying that we don't like to do things our way, we like to do our things our own way. Roman Reigns started flipping out, throwing chairs out of the ring, so you already knew all hell was about to break loose. And then Dean Ambrose basically grabs the last chair and just nonchalantly throws it right out of the ring. Thinking like, oh, I'm a big guy, I'm ready for war, let's get it on. So Evolution comes out, they're like, boys, when you sign that contract, it's going to be the last we ever see of you guys. We're going to destroy you. You guys are going to be the future of the WWE, and how fitting, we're going to bury you in Chicago if you sign it. And they did, and it looked like the brawl was going to go. No, and then the next thing you know, the brawl was on. And, well, let's just say it like this. The Shield got the upper hand early moments of the brawl. It looked like everything was going to go the Shield's way. And then Uncle Sledgy decides to make an appearance, and the great equalizer, the Sledgehammer, gives Evolution the upper hand. Basically, Ambrose and Rollins and Reigns gets laid out, and then for the coup d'etat, Roman Reigns triple powerbombed through the announce table at the end of the night, and there was one iconic scene that is going to be talked about for years to come. It's going to be talked about. The three fists together, the way that they do the Shield, with the sledgehammer on top. Evolution. Adapt or perish. Definitely the segment of the night for me, and that was definitely because of that final scene, that was one of the most iconic moments I've ever seen from Evolution. That was beyond awesome, and like you said, a very decent way to end a very horrible Monday Night Raw. So with that said, I think it's time we do the overall reviews.
Yeah, it definitely is. But before I do that, I said I had another funny meme for you, and I wanted to show it to you before we get into that. Riddle time, ignoramuses. Who has two thumbs and is now the #1 dart enhancement talent in WWE today? This guy. You're welcome. and that's exactly what it is. So I had to let that out. I mean, that was just straight up ammunition right there. So with that said, it's now time for our overall review of Monday Night Raw, and we're going to start it off with our Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher, and I can tell that we're going to definitely get some Cerebral Viper here. So with that said, go to it.
This was bad. This was a horrible Monday Night Raw. No way around it. Horrible dud fights. This was supposed to be a go-home show type of for payback, and it took a major step back. No doubt about it. You had the beginning segment that actually felt good, but the thing is that throughout the night, you had stupid comedy stuff from El Torito versus then you had El Torito versus Drew McIntyre, which had no business being on this show tonight. Then you had Bo Dallas versus Sin Cara. I mean, fine, whatever. If you're gonna put it over, whatever is whatever. Then you had Adam Rose going one-on-one with Davy Crockett and AK Sandow. No, that one's a wash. Then you had Summer Rae versus Eva Marie. I mean, you're trying to promote the pay-per-view. Well, okay, I understand you're trying to promote Total Divas because it's the season finale, but couldn't you save that for maybe SmackDown or something like that? No. Then you had Alicia Fox losing to Emma. I mean, there was so many questionable decisions tonight on this Monday Night Raw. I gotta do it. 3 out of 10 is my rating tonight. I'm only giving it a 3 out of 10. They phoned it in. They packed it in. They didn't care about this Monday Night Raw. And and I feel sorry for the great fans of Tennessee, man, because tonight they got screwed big time. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if that's how you're going to treat the fans in that type of show, no wonder Vince McMahon is losing almost $250 million a day when you're putting the garbage like this. No wonder nobody's buying the WWE stock. I mean, what the hell are you thinking, guys? You're not. And you better get your act together, because if this pay-per-view is horrible, Parito Spirito Santo, man, you better be prepared, because I will go on the biggest Mikey rant ever. And you thought Cerebral Viper is bad? You ain't seen nothing yet. Anthony, it's yours.
I know I've been going Mimi crazy on this night, but I got to do it right here. That's how I feel about tonight's show. Go home to Payback edition of Monday Night Raw, 4 out of 10. That's exactly what it is. I know I'm being a little more lenient than Fletch, but here's the reason why I'm giving this a 4 out of 10. I mean, the promo segments, almost all the promo segments were better than the matches itself. I mean, how many quality matches did we get tonight? 2, 3 total? And we out of what, 7 or 8? Yeah, that's not going to cut it with us. That's pointless. That's unnecessary. It's unacceptable. It's inexcusable, irresponsible, and borderline reprehensible. Vince McMahon should be a billionaire. Nope, he's only a millionaire, folks. And it's because of crapola like this that he's going to remain that way. And that's exactly why the stock took a major hit. And good Lord, this is terrible tonight. I mean, I go as far as to call this the worst Raw of the year so far. I mean, leading into WrestleMania, they were putting on damn good shows. We were like rating these shows between 7.5 to 8 out of 10 almost every week. But ever since WrestleMania ended, we've been rating these shows between like 5 and 6 out of 10. That's not right. That's not good. But it was the body of work of the Bray Wyatt promo. I mean, that was one of the reasons. And then, of course, the Stephanie McMahon and Daniel Bryan segment. We can't forget about that. I thought that was very well done, too. The ending, that was a very good ending. No question about that. Those 3 great segments. And then the opening segment I thought was solid with Steph and Triple H, even though it was basically, your typical whole opening of Raw stuff. And then you had a couple of quality matches. You had 3 quality matches with Sheamus and Del Rio, which was number 2. Of course, the fight of the night was RVD, and it was RVD and Cesaro, then Sheamus and Del Rio, and then Orton and Batista against the Rhodes. But other than that, all the other matches were absolute duds. I mean, campy comedy also ruled the roost here tonight. I mean, that definitely. I mean, if the campy comedy had been kept at a minimum, I probably would have given this between a 5 to 6, if I'm being honest with you. But the campy comedy stuff, you know how we are about that, zero tolerance. And since the campy comedy and the Dud enhancement fights ruled the roost, that's why I had to give it a 4 out of 10 tonight. But all the promo segments were fantastic. So, yeah. So, credit to the promos. 2 quality matches and 1, okay fight. And then all the other matches were, with the exception of Bodalis and Sin Cara, which was a 1.5, and that second Diva fight, all the other fights were duds and squashes and blah, 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 what have you. So, yeah. So, yeah, the El Torito nonsense, the El Torito Drew McIntyre, that was nonsense. Damien Sandow in another goofy outfit, give me a friggin' break there. So, yeah, 4 out of 10, as the Mimi indicated, as the Bret Hart not impressed Mimi came, that I just did. So, all right, that's gonna do it. I actually got a hold of Michael Bullock. He actually answered me. He had a family outing tonight. I mean, that is to be expected. I mean, because it is Memorial Day after all, and even though I didn't have a family thing today, I mean, I do understand that. So that's probably why. Probably had a Memorial Day cookout, I'm guessing, and it probably went into late. And also he had his phone off because he was having some battery issues. So that's one of the main reasons why Michael Bullock wasn't with us tonight. So all right, that's gonna do it for this show. But before we do our actually we still got to do our shout outs. So with that said, I'm actually gonna start this off with Michael Fletcher because I want to end it so I can set the table. So Fletch, your shout outs real quick if you got them.
All right, first of all, I want to thank all the great fans out there who follows the Wrestling Forum. Please like our page on the Facebook page. Please like our Twitter feed as well at the Wrestling Forum. No doubt about it. And then, of course, for all my personal fans out there, I am on Braves Fan 95, so like that, comment on that. You can also find me at Mike Fletcher Jr. And of course on my Facebook page, Michael Fletcher Jr. You can find me there as well. So of course I want to thank the great fans out there, to the super fans, to Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, Jason Histabog, Daniel Atrell, of course the first lady of the wrestling forum, the beautiful Miss Megan Silva, the first lady of Strictly Sports, the incomparable Miss Kaiser Marie Butler, and then of course to my fellow colleagues, to Derek Ferreira, happy birthday, Derek. Hope you had an amazing day. To Michael Bullock as well, wish you were here with us tonight, but it's all cool. And then of course to Jimmy Alden, to Shamae Lambert, to Robert Parsons, Kevin Creighton, to basically all the guys, Tommy Sousa, to all the guys from the junior high and high school days. Much love to you guys. To my crew, the 2184 crew. Much love to you guys too. I want to say a special happy birthday. I know it just passed, but I want to say to a very special baby girl, a good friend of mine, to Kristen Costa, happy birthday to you. And that's it, y'all. So until then, I actually do have a special surprise for you guys. If you guys are willing, and Anthony, I want to get an okay from you. Tomorrow night, come onto my page. And what I'm going to do, hopefully, immediately after the New York Rangers versus the Montreal Canadiens goes off the air, join myself and Anthony, and we're going to do, and I'm going to try to do this for the first time, a Ranger Roundup. We're going to recap Game 5 of the NHL Eastern Conference Finals. Could it be a night of celebration, or are we going to be heading back to New York? This is just something for me and Anthony. We're gonna talk about it. If he goes signs off on it, we'll do it immediately after tomorrow night's game. We'll wait and see there. So until then, I'll see you guys Friday night for Strictly Sports. I'm Mike Fletcher. You know the routine. Everybody hustle hand pounds. I'm out. Tony, it's yours.
All right, just had to unmute the mic there. And you know what, Fletch? You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I was thinking the same thing, although I was thinking more of a celebration style if it goes down that way. But yeah, but before I get into that, I want to get into my shout outs real quick. Of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make, the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports as ridiculously over as they are. We appreciate it as always. We can't do it without each and every one of you. You all know that by now. You are the best fans in the world. Enough said there. So with that said, a special shout out to our super fans, Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the family. Hope all is well with you guys. Hope you all had a great day today. Of course, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell rounding out our super fan group. Of course, keeping it, within our personal family. Of course, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Megan Silva, the First Lady of Strictly Sports, Kaiser Butler, Michael Bullock, who unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight because of those issues that I just mentioned. And then, of course, and speaking of Michael Bullock, of course, if you didn't see Strictly Sports on Friday night, he announced that he is going to be participating in the Special Olympics Summer Games that go down this weekend up at the University of Rhode Island. And on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestling Forum, we definitely want to wish him the very best. And hopefully, he brings it home. But then again, he always does. So we wish you all the best there, Mr. Bullock. So, and it's because of that on Friday night we're not going to have a Strictly Sports show, but I'll get more into that in just a moment as I set the table for upcoming events here. And then, of course, very special shout out and happy birthday to our Grand Imperial Poobah, Derek Ferreira. Once again, for giving me the keys to the car tonight. I mean, it's almost like I'm his number 2 guy when it comes to, if it's almost like I'm, the next in line, if you will, when it comes to, the hosting duties on the totem pole, if you will. So, but yeah, I mean, you're not going to be seeing much of Derek Ferreira because he's going to be very busy over these next few weeks. But he will be back with us next Monday night for the Wrestling Forum. I'm sure that'll be on Blog Talk Radio. But then again, we'll see how that goes. Or it could be on his YouTube. We'll see how that goes. But for right now, it's a special happy birthday for him. He's now a part of the 30 Club, of course, with Fletcher and myself. Of course, Michael Bullock will be joining on December the 8th. He'll be the final member of our 30 Club when it comes to the 4 of us. And then, yeah, but a very special happy birthday to Derek Ferreira. He had a great day. I mean, it was also Memorial Day, so this day was even bigger for him. So I'm sure he and his family probably had a special day for him. So very special happy birthday indeed to Derek Ferreira. We appreciate it. I mean, the man had a vision. He had a vision. I mean, we all talk about how Vince McMahon had a vision of WrestleMania and how it became this global phenomenon that it's been for 30 years. I mean, it's only been 2 years for us, well, almost 2.5 years. But Derek Ferreira had a vision to do these shows, not just the Wrestling Forum, but also Strictly Sports. And when he did these shows solo by himself, almost like what Joey Styles. I mean, I remember Joey Styles said he used to do live pay-per-views solo. That's what he did. And I know Fletcher will back me up on that. He used to do those pay-per-views solo, am I not right? So, and that's what Derek Ferreira did. But then, the night before the 2012 Royal Rumble, Derek Ferreira brought myself and Michael Fletcher on board, became a 3-man band, if you will. And then 2 months later, on March 20th of 2012, just a couple weeks before WrestleMania, that's when Michael Bullock was added on. And then all of a sudden, 2.5 years later, here we are, still going strong. The Wrestling Forum, Strictly Sports. And it's because of one man. And that one man is Derek Ferreira. So to Derek Ferreira, happy birthday. Thank you so much for, not just bringing me on board, but for bringing Fletch on board and also for bringing Michael Bullock on board. You truly are one of the best friends that this guy and Fletch and Bullock could definitely ask for. And if it wasn't for you, I mean, this is something we've been wanting to do this since we were little boys. I mean, since we became friends 20 plus years ago, we wanted to do stuff like this. But back then we didn't have the technology to do it. Nowadays we have it. But I'll tell you right now, if we had this kind of technology that we have now, if we had this 20 years ago, we would have been doing this all this time. Trust me on that. We would have. But we didn't. But here we are now, 2.5 years later, and we're still going strong. So Derek Ferreira, special shout out to you. Thank you, my friend, for everything. And here's to many more years of the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports. So, and then, of course, the rest of our brotherhood, Eric Carrier, Tommy Souza, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradison, Rob Parsons. They know who they are. And then, of course, I'm going to save the rest of my shout outs. Well, hold on, that's right. We're not going to have a show Friday night. So I'll have to save those. those special shout outs for next week, but I definitely want to get that special shout out to Lindsay McCormick, my number one girl right now. I mean, showing some love on the Twitter. I mean, she's been a big fan of Strictly Sports, and it's a shame that we're not going to have a show because we could have definitely had some fun with that. But we're hopeful of having her on the show someday, and if we ever get her on, well, you're looking at one of the greatest shows of all time. All right, that's definitely going to do it now. So with that said, let me set the table real quick. Of course, tomorrow night, uh, as soon as the Rangers and Canadiens Game 5 go final, you can join Michael Fletcher and myself. We're gonna be doing it on his channel this time around, Braves Fan 95, for the first of what we're hoping to be many Ranger roundups, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. I think that's a fantastic idea. I was thinking about doing that myself, but hey, you beat me to it. So, will there be a celebration, or will we be talking about a Game 6? You never know. We'll have to wait and see. We're kind of hoping for the former on that, but you never know. So, Ranger Roundup tomorrow night. As soon as the Rangers Canadiens Game 5 goes final, I accept Fletch. I will be there tomorrow night. No question about that. I'll plug it on the Twitter. I'll plug it on the Strictly Sports Twitter since this is a sports thing. So we'll see what happens with that. So we'll definitely put the word out. No doubt about it. As soon as that game goes final, we'll be there. Braves Fan 95. Friday night, no Strictly Sports show. Michael Bullock's going to be participating in the Special Olympics Summer Games, so no show there. So we'll have that Friday night off. And then Saturday, I don't know how we're going to do this, but we're going to have some sort of payback preview edition of the Wrestling Forum. I don't know. It could be just me by myself. You never know. But unless Fletch has the time or Derek, I don't know. Michael Bullock probably won't be able to do it because he's going to be, in those games. But we'll figure something out. We'll hammer out the details, I'm sure. But we will have some sort of payback preview thing for you folks on Saturday night. Trust me on that. But one thing I can confirm, we'll definitely have a review show on Sunday night. Michael Fletcher, that's his routine. You know that. That's when Fletcher runs the show, and we will have that on his channel, Braves Fan 95, 11 o'clock Sunday night, following the Payback pay-per-view, and we'll give our thoughts on that. And then, of course, next Monday night, the Wrestling Forum. On next Monday night, June 2nd, Derek Ferreira, I can confirm, will be on that show. And then that's pretty much it. And I don't know if we're going to have a Strictly Sports show after that, because Derek's going to be, on his way to New Jersey for that big soccer match. So definitely some very interesting things coming up here within the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports. So that's going to do it. So until tomorrow night on Michael Fletcher's Braves Fan 95 channel for our first ever Rangers Roundup, it is ridiculously over Anthony Florio for the Cerebral Viper Michael Fletcher, saying, you know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Have a great night, everybody. And until tomorrow night for our Ranger Roundup, you've been watching the Wrestling Forum right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends, and God bless. And be good to each other.